Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another RPG rant by Macabre Derek. Wow, trying to keep the videos flowing, and this time I wanted to discuss something that's near and dear to my heart. So, oftentimes, when we end up discussing a character, we discuss their power as a handed down stat line. And really, when you think about it for a few more seconds, you know how absurd this is, and yet a 76 armor class is what's considered powerful. This is understandable. I mean, most of the conflict you'll ever end up running into ends up coming in the form of dice challenges in one system or another. You are trying to use dice to leverage an advantage to continue the story along. Now, it's no secret that my favorite game is Vampire the Masquerade. And one of the interesting things I found with Vampire is that really the most powerful characters I've ever played rarely had anything to do with the stat line. Well, Derek, how can that be? As you try and end up getting that piece of eyelash out of your eye and look back into the camera. Well, it's really simple. It comes down to boons, favors, debts, power. What is power? Power is simply the ability to get things done. And it's not always in the case of your physical might to lift up a gate, or how stealthy you are to get past it, or how cunning you are to be able to figure out a meticulous plan as a workaround, or even how good of a talker you are. These are facets, these are tools. But as a good friend of mine once said, access is king. If you can get anywhere, you're always going to be of use, and that need to be of use. This works also as well in Dungeons and Dragons. I mean, think about it for a second. The key point about an adventuring group as a job, right? So we're not even talking about intricate storyline and everybody coming in. I mean, your old Pathfinder society. Here's a group of mercenaries. We huck them together, thrown them at a task, and hopefully it gets done. And that could be their job. Might be able to go live through 2 or 3 dungeons, amass a small fortune, and retire gracefully, if that's what you want. But that's not real power. That's not the kind of individual who sways nations and moves the hearts of the people. It's not the kind who makes those who are in the upper crust look twice and think, that there is a player. And I don't mean playa, I mean player. A person who is looking at the whole situation, sees it as a board, sees it as things to move. I want this person in power, so I'm going to help him get there. When that happens, he's going to owe me, so then I'm going to have a little bit of power by having a little bit of sway. I'm going to use that to make a little bit of power over here by putting this person, people I trust, people I've built up. Interesting about that. All of a sudden, all these people who owe you, who are attached to you, indebted to you, maybe even just friends, are in key positions. This could be the mayor of a town if you're ambitious, a king, or more, an emperor. Or maybe it's just the sage that has the emperor's ear. Maybe it's the cook. After all, best way to kill a ruler has always been with a poison. What else is there? The blacksmith. Oh, the blacksmith is an amazing ally. Guess what? Whenever somebody's coming to end up getting equipment fixed, new horseshoes, anything of the like, even just making small nails, well, the blacksmith's going to be taking orders and he's going to know about things. And maybe he just keeps an eye on the guard's equipment. Maybe a guard who is watching the prison cell. Always good to know who's rustled up, who's getting out of jail, who it is that might be getting a second chance, and who it is that might slip back into the system. So it's always good to snatch that person up, and might as well make sure if they're going to prison, they're at least advancing your agenda and maybe getting something on the side. Doesn't much matter. The point this all boils down to is the idea that you are influencing the world around you, not just by saying, I have a sword, I have a shield, I have a magic wand, I have a dagger, I got a cloak, I'm a ranger, give me a job. That can start it, most definitely. But if you're good at the whole networking thing, especially when you start treating your NPCs as, I don't know, people, now there's an idea. Well, all of a sudden you start realizing that you can start getting these NPCs to actually start working with you. And a competent GM will oftentimes do this because, well, guess what? You're befriending an NPC. You're developing a relationship there. Even if it's adversarial, you can still make it work. So a character who has straight 10s down the line, as average can be, no +1 for you, but who knows about networking, doesn't need to be overly charismatic. He just needs to make it a point to let his name be heard, care about what other people want, listen to them. Ooh, great power players always carry that trait. They're great listeners. They know to read between the lines. They listen to what the person says and what they want, maybe use their words against them on occasion. After all, nobody wants to be a hypocrite. If you catch a person in that situation, well, you'd be amazed on how far you can push them. Take that character with straight 10s down the line, play him with this mentality, and then go ahead and take a look at that 18th strength barbarian half-orc, who could quite easily split a table in two with a single swing and lose his temper in the middle of the bar. 5-6 months down the road, who do you think's getting ahead? Yeah, the barbarian may be a little bit more power, physicality, but that just makes him another tool to be moved, another piece to be placed. And if you know how to end up rigging the system in your favor, I mean, yeah, he's doing most of the killing, but you're the one making the moves. You're the one who says we go or we don't. And this is just by being needed and using that position, helping out where you can, but listening. Skilled manipulators will end up doing this. Now, manipulators can be good or bad, really. It's more a matter of what angle are they taking it at. Maybe they're trying to save people from themselves, which may require a little bit of negotiating, a little bit of mental gymnastics. Maybe you just want to end up seeing the current regime toppled. Completely worthwhile if it is your end designs. This is part about writing a character. And this is an advantage that a lot of people don't take advantage of, which is really weird. I mean, if you're going to be the loner, you know, this happens from time to time. Somebody decides to end up writing the loner character. The loner character typically does not have this advantage. And yet, so many other players decide to end up playing like as if they are the loner. Never once was it ever written. Go figure. So, when you're coming about developing characters and implementing them in the world, consider something as simple as Boon. In Vampire the Masquerade 20th anniversary, you can actually take Boon as one of your merits. Now, most people end up using this as get out of jail free card, which is great. That's a very good use of it. But an amateur investor will even tell you what you do is you take what you're owed, what's coming to you financially or otherwise, and you put it towards getting more, so that one boon might be a major boon, might be a minor boon. You use that to be able to get trivial boons just by getting information, being in the know, keeping it going back and forth. So many people want to end up giving information for free. You take that information when you can. But when you are exclusive to a bit of news, oh yeah, you can rein that in for a few favors here and there. Just some odd questions, things that people want to know, but don't have access to. Access is king, after all, much like cash. Some people can be bribed. You can use a monetary advantage to help lubricate the old wheels, the grinding wheel that just churns information and grinds neonates to bits. We all know this cycle. You've probably played in a few games in Vampire the Masquerade. Well, I can guarantee you, if you've played in a few games, eventually you start seeing this. Neonates get chewed through the machine every single time. It's the smart ones who can actually take little pieces of whatever comes off that wheel and take advantage of it. Oh, Rob there ended up getting mashed up in the machine. What was Rob's stick? Oh, right. He was a Brewhog gun runner. Oh, gun runner. Okay. Illegal firearms aren't coming in now because of this, or at least there's a huge dent in the market. Maybe I can take advantage of that. Maybe it's a case of I can provide that, or maybe I can take advantage of the fact that there's stuff lacking. Maybe I can find ways to end up making sure that that's completely sealed off as an option for other people. Who knows? But you take these little bits that people drop. A house here, a apartment there, a car here, a old girlfriend there, and you start like a vulture picking at it, taking these small little tidbits, these little iotas of power, and you start using them to make more. And then all of a sudden you have this character who has no dots in anything that's too extreme. It's not like you're have a strength 4 character with a brawl of 5 with potence 3. And yet the character with that stat is the one that's got to bow to you. Because while they were playing this stat game, you were playing the world's game. In Dungeons and Dragons, this can actually be the same. For instance, how many players ever stop to end up saying, you know what, with me suddenly earning the king's favor, what are you going to ask? I want lordship and land. Give me title and give me a few acres of land to make my own. What do you do then? You end up bringing in other people from the fields. You have them work your fields in exchange for food, shelter. You are a lord after all. Well, all of a sudden, you just gained a huge boon. Every other player is looking to get their +1 armor. You just end up setting yourself up with title. Now, what else can you do with that? Well, you now have people. You have people who refer to you as Lord. You have people who can keep an ear out for you. After all, they go to the markets and what have you. You can have one as a right-hand man whose job is while you're off gallivanting, to keep an eye on the place and be able to feed you information. Maybe you are a wizard who decided that a messenger spell would be something as simple. And guess what? Even though you may be a long ways away, you're still pushing those machinations. One thing builds up another, which builds up another. This is a very, very different mentality from the players who decide to end up adding that +1 to strength. It's an interesting and curious notion. But consider the next time somebody ends up saying to you that my character was so powerful. Oh my God, like I had +20 to hit and all this kind of stuff. Just smile at them. Because if you've ever played like this, they could have all the gear in the world. But in the end, you say jump, and they say how high. If you found this rant interesting, feel free to press the like button. If you have any questions, comments, or a subject you'd like me to discuss, feel free to leave it in the comments section. And, of course, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. This is Macabre Derek, and until next time.